And here we go, it is the FC26 career mode, highly anticipated and finally here. Pep Guardiola in charge of Manchester City, and we're going to take this series by storm. Hopefully have a really successful season with Manchester City, and we're looking to go maybe 3, 4, 5 seasons with this series. You guys have been wanting it for a very long time. We've finally brought it to you, and here we go. New kits in the game, new features on FC26, and these are my settings for the new series. So we are going to go with authentic gameplay. That is what I prefer. We're going to go with Legendary, I do believe. I've not actually played any games at the moment, though. We are going to go with that sort of in-depth thing as well, with the Championship, with La Liga, Liga as well. Youth players current overall. We're going to let us simulate games if we need to, because we're going to try and move a month a season. Sliders, tactical behaviour in terms of the AI for the opposition. You can go with other things as well, but I like it to just change things up. Training plans are on, recovery rates are going to go realistic. Everything about this series, the intention is for it to be realistic. We try and keep things as realistic as possible. In terms of transfer approaches, we're going to put them on loose because we want to be able to negotiate who we want. But scouting quickly and so on. The transfer market is not going to be active. It will be disabled for this first opening transfer window. No sacking because we don't want to lose our job. We've had that in previous series. If you remember back to FIFA 22, I think it was. I think we got sacked. Do you remember that? And market realism is on default. Manager market realism on default, just as realistic as possible, really. Currency, we're going to actually use euros over sterling. I know sterling is what they use in the UK, but we're going to go for euros because that is mainly used. That is what's used in European football. Keep it that way. And of course, we want to keep things good all over as well. Unexpected events is going to be on, and we're going to keep it at medium, so we're not going to see crazy things. I've heard that players get injured and retire with this unexpected event, so I don't want Erling Haaland to pick up an injury and then retire from football. We're going to put it on medium and hope we do avoid that situation, because that would be terrible. And in terms of positioning, we have gone already into the development plans of our squad and changed some of the players' position or gone to train them to be other position. You guys voted for Vardiol to be moved from left back to centre back, and we've gone to move the players in those positions. Kusanov has gone from right back to from centre back to right back. That is where we're moving him. I mean, look at that pace on Kusanov. The guy looks unbelievable. Rico Lewis, you guys believe he should be more of a midfielder, so we're going to train him to be a central midfielder and play that role for this Manchester City side this season. And then as for Phil Foden, he's going to go from a right winger. You guys voted to make him an attacking midfielder. That is going to be his primary position. He's going to play through the middle throughout this season for us. And the same goes for Ryan Shaqiri as well. You guys want him to be trained to be a centre attacking midfielder from right wing. He'll be trained in that position also. He will play that position most of the season. Probably rotate with Foden, play with him. And we've also got the Academy in FC26. And the Academy of Manchester City we have added to the side. Starting off with goalkeeper Jack Wint, 18 years of age, 51 rated. Could he make it a City as the Academy goalkeeper? We'll have to see. We've got Christy McFarlane, the young left back, 18 years of age. He is in the side. He is in the squad. He could be a possible addition at left back, but these players are very lowly rated due to their inability, really, of playing first-team football. That will come in time. And McFarlane, 55 rated, pretty low for an 18-year-old. We've got Stephen Mafunny, 17 years of age, 59 rated. He is one of the younger players that have got more of a chance to be involved this season. He's someone that Pep Guardiola has already included in first-team squads. 6'2", only 17. We've got Harrison Miles, who's a holding midfielder, a central midfielder, technically quite gifted. He's captain of the England under-18s, but he's not obviously a first-team player at all. 52 rated, very low, but of course we have lots of confidence for these players to make it to the Manchester City first team in the future, because we've got some objectives that we'll reveal in this episode of young players coming through. 16-year-old Floyd Samba, I mean, 16 years of age. The guy is hardly anywhere near playing first team football. You're talking about players that are maybe 19, 20, 21. He's still so far away from that at 16. Son of Chris Samba, of course. We've got Finlay Gorman, who's also a really good player. Youngster, came from the Leeds Academy. City signing from there. Another 55 rated player around that rating. One that I do believe has a real chance of making it Manchester City. He's very, very technically gifted. And of course, there's a few more younger players that are known. One that says here, potential to be special. That is Divine Mukasa, 18 years of age. And he is highly, highly rated here at Manchester City. And he's the guy you guys voted for. It was between him, Mafunny and McAdoo, who is the sort of one we should push the most towards the first team football. And it's the player who's already started games for City, playing the Carabao Cup against Huddersfield. It's Divine Mukasa. Status has potential to be special. I genuinely do believe that. 62 rated. I think we've got a future superstar on our hands. The same goes for 17-year-old Regan Heskey at the club as well. He's one that's quite known as young. He's got his younger brother, or older brother actually, in the side that isn't actually in our academy in this save. But he is there, Regan Heskey, off that left-hand side. A future at Manchester City, I'm sure. Maybe a loan move at some point for these younger players. It all depends on what we decide. 17-year-old Ryan McAdoo, like Mikasa, has the status, has potential to be special. So Mikasa and McAdoo are two players that you're looking at and saying, right, they have potential to be 86 rated, 87 rated players. We don't know whether they'll reach that potential, of course. There's lots of things that can happen. Unexpected events in FC26, which I'm excited about. And the same goes this man as well. Mamadou Sangare, signed from Paris Saint-Germain. Another one with potentially special as a special striker at Manchester City. Maybe even next season, he could be the second choice striker back up to Erling Haaland. It all depends how they develop over the coming season. But there's some really exciting players in the academy and in our FC26 career mode, and that is something that I'm excited about. And also we have lots of players on loan as well in the squad, players for the future. David Mbama, 67 rated striker. Will Dixon, who's from the youth system, he's playing at Chesterfield on loan. Jack Grealish, of course, will look to try and make that a permanent move, if we can do, to Everton come the end of the season. Joel Dala, a youngster who did really well in the youth systems, had some really sort of poor loans since then, but there is a sort of hope that he can do well. Echeverri, I mean, how highly rated is he? Can he do the business for Manchester City? Can he really impress out on loan at Leverkusen? He's probably one of the more players tipped to make it to the first team from that loan. And the same goes for Sven Naipan as well. 73 rated. We have given some of these players an upgrade, and in the first team as well. Only a few little upgrades here, there. And Sven Naipan, I mean, 73 rated at 18 years of age. He's been doing really well at Middlesbrough. So Soho is a player that's unfortunately had a lot of injuries. That's like sort of nullified his development a little bit, stalled it certainly. But he's a player that can get back to developmental ways of developing into a decent player. Isakabore is one that, come his end of his loan at Wrexham, surely we can manage to move him on, because he's not really a first-team player at Manchester City, is he? He hasn't been for a very long time. Lacale Samuel, his first ever loan away from the club, coming through the youth system. Let's see how he does. A right-back playing at Bronley now, only 60 rated. I mean, like the players in our academy at the moment, very low rated. Finley Burns, 22. I think, a loan at Reading, it's probably the last loan for him. I know, development isn't linear. Some players develop in different rates. Some do really well at the latter stage of the career. I mean, Manu Akanji, 29. Again, another player we're looking to make sure we can make that a permanent move come the end of the season. We've got a real raft of really exciting young centre-backs. One in Vita Heiss and loan at Girona, who was signed for around 40 million euros by Manchester City in January. So he's one you've got to keep an eye on. He's got to make it in the first team, especially the sort of money City paid for him. He's probably one of the first players Hugo Viana really picked out as a potential superstar, a January signing for Manchester City. Max Lane has come through our youth system. He is looking really good at the Championship at Watford. A real exciting ball-playing defender, and one that we think can make it at Manchester City, be part of the squad in the future of this series. I think there's no doubt about that, how good he is, how good he can be. But he's not the only sort of exciting young defender. Him and Vita Heiss are sort of the on-the-ball defenders. You could say the same goes for maybe Jamai Simpson-Pouze, who's come through the youth system on loan at Celtic, but we don't know how successful that loan at Celtic is going to be. In real life, he hasn't played many games at Celtic, but there's a chance to impress there. Of course, he made it. He got I think the player of the season in the youth league, in the Premier League Youth League. So he's very highly rated. So we'll have to see. And he did okay when he actually played first team football. Obviously, the Manchester City side at the time was really, really struggling. And a big name is, of course, Djimaba, playing at OGC Nice on loan. 19 years of age, 6'5", a big physical centre-back, not quite your archetypal Pep Guardiola centre-back maybe, on the ball. But I tell you what, in a back three, at the centre of it, at the heart of it, he's looked a top player in Ligue 1 from when I've seen it. However, he has had some poor performances as well. Like we said, development isn't linear. Some players will drop. They develop at different rates. Not everyone gets an amazing career at 19, at 20. Players are different now. And of course, we've got Esbrand on loan now in Poland. I mean, he needs to be moved on. I think he showed promise at one time, but injuries and poor form and so on, he's not going to make it at Manchester City, is he, this season or in the future anyway. For the main squad now, because we've got a 25-man squad that City have put together under Hugo Viana, starting off with the 4 goalkeepers we have in our squad. One will be looked to move on in Ortega in January. We've got third-choice goalkeeper and, of course, the goalkeeper that helps make up the homegrown quota, the man who's the experienced one in former Chelsea and Fulham man, Marcus Bettinelli. He will play his role in the side this season. He might even make an appearance, but there's no intention to involve him in the side. Of course, the massive signer transfer market, one of the biggest transfers City have ever made in terms of bringing in a ready-made superstar, is Johan Luigi Donnarumma. A falling out at Paris Saint-Germain. City lose Edison and they bring in the best goalkeeper in the world. He's backed up by a player who's come from our youth system, the very young James Trafford. Hopefully, he can make it at the club as well. But I do find it's going to be difficult. I do see a very difficult future for James Trafford at Manchester City with Gianluigi Donnarumma, the best goalkeeper in the world, ahead of him. He's got a battle in his hands, Trafford. He's certainly a player that backs himself. He took the #1 shirt. He believes he's going to be City first choice goalkeeper next season. I've got high hopes for him in this series, but he certainly is going to be back up to Donnarumma. There's no way he starts ahead of Gianluigi Donnarumma. And at 22 years of age, he's got a lot of opportunity to develop into a superstar. If not, City might sell him for profit. New signing Reinier Nuri. He's one of our left backs for the season. Very good signing. 81 rated. I think that shows he's a top quality left back. Only 24 years of age. He's a player that I certainly think we can develop in this side to maybe an 85, 86 rated player. And he surely is the first name at left back this season. When we go through the starting 11 that you guys voted for, by the way, just like the player positions, you guys have voted for the starting 11 as well. I've sort of worked out the tactics, the most realistic ones as possible. You guys want Ait Nuri starting at left back, but he's not the only superstar at left back, because Manchester City have brought through a young midfielder who was an attacking midfielder in the academy. Pep Guardiola said he could play as a holding midfielder, more of a central midfielder, box to box. He's got an eye for goal. He's got that, he sort of sniffs the goal, which like Reinders and Ilkay Gundogan did do, and that is of course Nico O'Reilly. Nico O'Reilly could also be our starting left back. Of course, as well, I mean, we've got Joshko Vardiol here. He is currently at left back, but he's going to be a centre-back this season. He's going to be starting on the left-hand side as the left-hand side centre-back. He's the #1 option for there. I think when we convert him to centre-back, he'll upgrade even more. He can even play as a left midfielder. Technically very gifted, can play as centre-back that steps up into midfield as well. Got an eye for goal as well, hasn't he, Joshko Vardiol? And in the build-up, he is going to be key for this City side. We're going to play a particularly high line. We're going to actively sort of avoid Gianluigi Donnarumma. So that's what we're going to be needing. And there is Nico O'Reilly, 77 rated. I've given him an upgrade because I think he deserves it. He's been one of City's best players. He's tall, he's physical, he's got this ability to drive with the ball, he's quick enough, he's a good 1v1 defender, he's good in the air. I think he's a real all-rounder. And when it comes to playing at left back, sometimes that's what you need at full-back. Full-back is a difficult position to play. You're defending in wide areas a lot of time, 1v1 a lot of time. And you're asked to do a lot of forward-thinking things as well and be creative. I think Nico O'Reilly has been so impressive in that position. He's going to be key for us this season at left back. Then we've got on to the centre-backs then. John Stones, I've bumped him up to 84 rated. He's gone up by 2 ratings. I think he needed that. He deserved that. I don't know how Nathan Ake was lower rated than John Stones. John Stones, you cannot question his ability. And you cannot question his commitment to Manchester City. But we can question John Stones' fitness record. And I think that might be what ends his time at Manchester City purely because he can't stay fit. Moving on to Nathan Ake, who's in a similar predicament to John Stones. Whether his future is at City, we don't know. Both of them count as homegrown players because of their time. Stones, of course, is English. Nathan Ake has come through Chelsea's youth system. He is one of my favourite players, Ake, when he plays. But similar to Stones, he's got injury issues. And we don't know how reliable he can be. But I'm sure he'll play a key role this season. Versatile enough to play at left back when we need it. If Ait Nuri or O'Reilly aren't there, maybe the bigger games you go with Nathan Ake. But I've been really impressed with Nico O'Reilly. I think he'll start there. And he is the backup to Joshko Vardiol on that left-hand side of our central defensive positions. Then we go on towards, of course, Manny Wakanji, who's out on loan at Inter, so we don't need to look at him. Ruben Diaz. 28 years of age, we've downgraded him from 86 to 85. I worked it out that for every point we upgraded a player, we downgraded another player by a point. I think Diaz's season last year and the season before, he's been on the down, really. But I feel like he's starting to find his feet at Manchester City quite recently. He's a leader at the back, and I think playing a little bit less out from the back, playing the long ball a little bit more, going a bit more out-and-out defence with Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal, he makes a big difference. Aboukadir Kasanov, who has a bright future at Manchester City. We're going to play him at right back for at least the first 6 months of this season until January. We'll talk about the January transfer window after we've looked at the squad. Don't you worry, we will be talking about transfers. And Kasanov at the moment is going to play at right back. I'm going to convert him to a right back, but I think his future lies at central centre-back, probably in a partnership alongside Joshko Vardiol. And then you look at sort of Vita Heiss and some other players in there as well. Right back, we've got Mateus Nunes. How long he stays at Manchester City playing right back, I don't know. We actually did a vote and you guys voted for him to be more of a central midfielder, and that is his natural position, central midfield. So he probably should be playing there. But for now, he's going to be our right back and he's going to back up Aboukadir Kasanov on the right-hand side. That is going to be his position. And Rico Lewis is going to be converted to a central midfielder. He's going to share those attacking and central mid positions with the likes of Kovacic, Foden, Shaqiri, Reinders as well, Nico, Rodri, and so on. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Rico Lewis. At times I think when he does play, he just makes everyone play better. But then at times, I do feel like he's lacking at Manchester City. Now, he has signed a new 5-year contract. That shows City have got real commitment to the player. And with City showing real commitment to the player, we like to keep things realistic. If City show a commitment to a player, we will do as well. A player we're not committed to, though, is, of course, Calvin Phillips. We're actually converting to a centre-back in training. He's not a first-team player. He keeps up the homegrown quota. That's why he's around. Yeah, I mean, the less said about Calvin Phillips, the better. I don't think he's going to make many appearances for us, and if we can move him on in January, we certainly will do. Into the central midfield positions, the heart of our midfield, of course, is 90 rated. Mr. Ballon d'Or himself, Rodri. If we keep him fit, he is the world's best holding midfielder, but we know that a return from ACL injury could be difficult. Could be very difficult for him. We know injuries are going to be a problem this season, I'm sure, and with this sort of unexpected events that FC26 has added, that EA have added, we could see maybe an unexpected event for Rodri. We don't want to see that. But we know that he's been struggling with injuries at Manchester City, and that has been a problem for him. Hopefully, that's a problem that we can get past as a team, as a club, because with Rodri in our side, we are a different level of team. We're a completely different level of team when Rodri is in there. And when he doesn't play, this man will play, Nico Gonzalez. You can see the obvious drop-off from Nico to Rodri, especially on the ball, but off the ball I actually feel like he's quite a bit of a monster off the ball, Nico. A real hard worker, chases the ball, wants to win it back, puts the tackles in, not always perfect, but he has that intention, he has that aggression, that determination. His biggest problem is he's not Rodri. And the thing is, if Rodri's going to play nearly every game for us, we're going to try and do what Pep Guardiola does, so Rodri will play a lot of football for us, then Nico is going to be purely the backup. But that's good enough, I think. And sometimes in the Champions League, we might play those two together. We've got Mateo Kovacic at the club, 31 years of age. I think he's coming towards the end of his time at Manchester City. I think City would have moved him on in the summer if it wasn't for an Achilles injury that's kept him out until recent times. So he couldn't move in the transfer market. He won't be going anywhere in January, but he's not part of my plans, particularly for the future. Club captain Bernardo Silva. He's part of my plans now. He's part of my plans for the immediate future because he is the club captain. He is going to be playing in midfield for us on the right-hand side, attacking midfield roles, left-hand side if needed to. He's the leader in the dressing room, isn't he, alongside Rodri and Ruben Diaz. He's a key player for Pep Guardiola, probably Pep Guardiola's favourite. You can see there in the squad image. They sat alongside each other, him and Bernardo Silva, so he's going to be key. As is this man who started every single Premier League game so far under Pep Guardiola, Tijani Reinders. He is going to be, I think, one of the superstars of the series. I genuinely do think that. I think 86 rated, 26 years of age. He's coming into his prime already. You're talking about by 4 seasons, he's only just hit the age of 30, which is where Rodri is now. So think of what a player he can be. He's got that air of Ilkay Gundogan about him, which is really exciting as well. So I think he's going to be fantastic for us. And the attacking area, we've got Jeremy Doku. I've upgraded him to 82 because I think he started the season really well. I've literally just swapped overalls with Savinho. So Savinho's gone down to 80, Doku's gone to 82. I think that's a fair way to do it. He's going to be the mainstay on the left-hand side. I actually think he could be the superstar of the series alongside Reinders and maybe Erling Haaland as well. I've had a little bit of a go at this game. He's unreal. Following the player number 10 role, he's missed the Manchester City, Phil Foden. He's going nowhere. He's going to be our key player in that 10 alongside Shaqiri. If we can get them both playing as interiors alongside Reinders, Marmoush can play in there as well with Rodri or Nico in behind. I think City have got a real attacking team, especially against those sides that want to sit in a lower block, which they will do on this game. I'm sure they will do. And Ryan Shaqiri, one of the most exciting young players in world football. 21 years of age. His ability on the ball, his technical ability is absurd. It really is. His creativeness, the way he finds passes. If you look at statistics, he's up there with Kevin De Bruyne and Lionel Messi as the most creative players in world football. That's why Manchester City replaced him, signed him to replace Kevin De Bruyne, and that's exactly what he's going to do with this City side. Savinho can play right or left. I mean, Pep Guardiola's actually preferred him on the left recently. You guys voted to keep him on the right side to play as a right winger and start on the right hand side for Manchester City. There's certainly a future for Savinho at Manchester City. Another one who signed the new deal, the club, a 5-year deal, keeping him here for a very long time. City see a lot of potential in Savinho. They see him going to the top level. I think he can get there actually when he starts to learn how to be better on the ball. and finish chances and be more creative and make the right decisions in the final third. If he gets that, we've got a superstar on our hands. We had to upgrade Oscar Bob because he's another player who came for our youth system who's genuinely a top player. I think Pep Guardiola knows the intensity that Oscar Bob brings. He helps us out defensively. We cannot do without him. And I think him on that right side with Savinho can share it. Doku and Marmoush maybe on the left. And maybe we look to bring in another forward next summer. That is certainly on my list. And don't rule that out, that we look to bring in another forward. Someone just to help out in those wide areas. Savinho, Bob, Doku, yes, Marmoush. But Marmoush I'd like to play more centrally and sometimes off the left-hand side. But I think we will look to make another wide player. And then, of course, the striker position. We've got the big man, Erling Haaland, the key man in this City side. 90 rated, only 24 years of age. Let us know in the comments down below how many goals will Erling Haaland get in this series in Season 1. And then we've got Omar Marmoush, who will play off the left, attacking midfielder alongside Haaland. Will rotate things up. That is the full squad. And I tell you what, doesn't it look like an absolute superstar squad, really? And it's a squad. Why can't we win the Premier League with that team in this series? It's going to be difficult. There's a lot of rivals this year in Liverpool, Arsenal, but I think we can do it. And of course, now looking at some of the players, just to look at situations in terms of contracts. Marcus Bettinelli, Bernardo Silva, John Stones and Stefan Ortega only have 1 year, 12 months remaining on their contract. So we will, at some point in this series, in this season, maybe before January, have to make a decision on these 4 players. Bernardo says he's already made a decision on his future, actually, which I think personally will be a decision to move away from the club. John Stones, we're not entirely sold on yet. Depends on how he proves his fitness this year. That's exactly what the future of Stones holds. Ortega will look to move on in January because he's 4th choice goalkeeper. He's not playing much football for us. And then finally, we've got Bernardo Silva as well. And in terms of the wage structure, because we're going to be going through the wage structure, that's how he's looking at the moment. I've got Erling Haaland with a 9-year contract. That is something we'll talk about at the end of the episode because it is one of our objectives to create a realistic wage structure within the side. Currently, Rodri's the highest rated player, and we're looking to him to get a new deal as well alongside some of the others that we've just mentioned. So now, tactics and terms of starting 11. Well, firstly, the tactical preset. Wing play is an interesting one for City. We do use the wingers quite a lot through Doku, Savinho, and the players in the wide area. Do we use a possession preset? Or do we use, you know, something different? I've gone to decide to go with high pressing. With Pep Lijnders now in charge at Manchester City in terms of assistant coach, that is something he's looking to bring to City, which is sort of, we can play in the counter, we can play possession football, we can play using the wide players, we can play using the central players, and I've gone with a tactical preset of using, which is maybe surprise, high pressing. I think that is the key area of our game, winning the ball back quickly, and then we can decide the way we play with the ball then. So high press is what we're going to go with tactically. And formation wise, I've decided to go with a 4-3-3 attack. I know you guys wanted to use a 4-2-3-1, but I've watched City very, very, very closely. And we don't play in a 4-2-3-1. Reinders plays, like with Foden, of sort of alongside Erling Haaland, and then Rodri sits in that midfield in front of the back line. So I've gone for a 4-3-3. I've decided against you on that one, which is different. And then tactical-wise, I've gone with the wingers being quite versatile. They can drop deep, they can make runs in behind, depends on the phase of play. We can play counter-attacking football. Erling Haaland's a poacher, playing on that last line all the time, but also I've gone as versatile as well. Sometimes he can come and sort of support the team in terms of build-up play, which he does do. Phil Foden, a playmaker, we're going to ask him to roam. Reinder's going to be a playmaker roaming as well. The only thing we might change in that is actually have them play as sort of a bit close to the striker at times, possibly. Rodri, a deep line playmaker, the build-up will be the biggest part of his game, helping the side build up from the back. Box crash is quite an interesting one that is new, and you can see there, obviously, you've got the play style accomplished, and we'll try and get all these players in these play styles accomplished. Goalkeeper and just balance for Gianluigi Donnarumma, and then obviously at the right back will be Kusanov. We want the full-backs. We've actually decided I'm going to go with not attacking wing-backs, not inverted wing-backs. I mean, it'll change if Rico Lewis comes in or whoever, or depending on certain games where we ask the winger to stay wide and O'Reilly to come inside maybe. But for now, we're going to go with the full-backs just versatile. They'll decide whether to shift into a back three or to be overlapping or to come inside. They can do all 3 roles there, which is, I think, better. And Nuri does do that in games. Vardiol or Kusanov will do that in games. He will sometimes play as centre-back, but sometimes he pushes on as well. These players, I'm going to give them quite a lot of freedom tactically to decide what is the best decision for them. I think that is the answer for them to be versatile. One centre-back will be a ball-playing defender. One player will just be an out-and-out defender, which will be Ruben Diaz. And the goalkeeper on balance. That is the way the starting 11 will be looking. Of course, you guys voted for the personnel in the starting 11 and the squad all round overall in terms of the players on the bench as well. So we'll run through that before we get to some transfer targets for January. So this other side is looking. Donnarumma is our starting goalkeeper. That is who you voted for the number 1 between the sticks. I think that was an easy vote, wasn't it, really? Right back, you've gone with Casanova and Mateus Nunes. Diaz and Vardiol as our defensive partnership. Diaz ahead of Stones on the right. Vardiol ahead of Nathan Ake on the left. And left back, it is Aït-Nouri over Nico O'Reilly. So that makes up City's defensive sort of units with captain, or it would be Captain Diaz really, or Captain Rodri in front in the whole midfield role. You didn't want Bernardo Silva to start, so Tajani Reinders starts with Phil Foden. There's attacking midfield roles, and both can swap within game. Foden sometimes on the left, Foden sometimes on the right. On the left to create, on the right to cut in. On Reinders on the right to create, on the left to cut in and shoot. So I really like that midfield at the moment. That's the way City have been playing their midfield, in fact. You guys went Savinho ahead of Oscar Bob on the right. Jeremy Doku, of course, on the left ahead of Marmoush and Erling Haaland. I mean, he did have a bit of a vote against Marmoush, but it wasn't much of a vote. Erling Haaland starts at the striker role. That is a starting 11. That is on the bench looks, and the bench is made up of players that you got the most votes for. So if you say voted for Diaz to start ahead of Stones, but Stones got 40% of the vote, say, for example, and Diaz went and won the vote with 60%, then Stones has got a higher percentage of votes in his favour, so he's on the bench. So the bench is, of course, James Trafford, because we need a goalkeeper. And it's Nathan Ake, John Stones, Nico O'Reilly, Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva, Ryan Shaqiri, Oscar Bob, and Omar Mouche. I mean, that bench has defensive options, attacking options, creative options, pace, skill, lots of different options on the side, and I really do like that bench. I think it's a really balanced team in terms of starting 11, in terms of the bench as well. Yes, we could make an upgrade in the right back position. Yes, we will look to do that in the January transfer window. And this City side is looking strong, he's looking great, and he's looking ready for the new season. However, it does mean that with that bench and with that start 11, there is some players that miss out on the matchday squad usually, and these are the team players that will miss out. Marcus Bettinelli, Mateus Nunes, Rico Lewis, and Mateo Kovacic. And then we have Ortega, Phillips, Mufuni, and Mukasa as well. They are going to be the players that miss out, and they're the young players that are going to get most of the chances so far this season. They are going to be the key players for Manchester City off the bench in that reserve position. Now onto the transfer news, because we are going to look to sign a new player in January. Just one player, and that's going to be the right back role. On our list, you guys voted for right back, clearly the most important position for City to sign. So we have been linked with a few different players. I've added them to a short list. Molina, Atletico Madrid, not playing much football. He's on the short list. A player who probably is the best player that we could go for at right back is Tino Livramento of Newcastle, 82 rated. He's City's number 1 option. He's my number 1 option. I think he's your number 1 option as well from the votes. You want him to be the man to come in and be the right back. We've got Jean-Michel Aramburu as well. Plays at La Real Sociedad in the Basque Country. He's going to cost probably his release clause. He's not the quickest right back. I'm not exactly sure. He's not the tallest either. And I'm not entirely sold on him being the man to come in. Livramento's my first choice. If you want to bring in probably the highest potential young fullback in the game, then we go for 19-year-old Giovanni Reid. He is actually captain Feyenoord. He's a starter at right back, but he's more of a right wing back, an attacking player. More of a solid player, someone who can do the attacking role, but the defensive role as well, a sort of well-rounded player. A cheaper option than Livramento would be Omar Al-Hilali at Espanyol, one that's been linked with City, and he also would have a release clause, so that could be an option in January. Maybe the most realistic and potential option. We could go and make a move for Denzel Dumfries, who's linked with City. Do we just go for the experienced player, the player that is already at that level that we want? That could be an option for City as well. However, I think he's going to cost too much for what we want from a player at that age, 29 years of age. We don't want to be spending that sort of money on a player. Amar Dedic at Benfica, a bit of an out there option. Similar in style maybe to João Cancelo. Amar Dedic likes to get the ball, dribble from fullback, try and make things happen that way. He does base his game, I think, on João Cancelo, the Bosnian. And we've not had a Bosnian at the club since Edin Dzeko. It would be nice to bring one in. Martin Fernandes, heavily linked with City, has a release clause in real life around, I think, 70 million euros. Only 75 rated at 19. I'm not sure if he's what City want now. And I think in the market in January, we'll look for a right back that can do a job now. And then in the summer window, we'll look for another right back, maybe the first teamer or someone who can develop. And sort of low down the list is Divine Wrench as well at AS Roma, but I don't think he's quite a level Manchester City are looking for in that right back role. Maybe one for just the future if we are to make a move for a second right back. And finally, we end the episode with a big part of the episode. These are some of the big objectives and rules for this series. Rules that you guys need to understand we're going to strictly follow. We'll start things off with the financial rules. The first one is we can only spend in the market 10 million euros more than what the club earns. So we'll find out what the club earns at the end of the season, and we can only spend 10 million euros on that. If we make 200 million, we can spend 210 million. If we make 500 million, we could spend up to 510 million. That is how it's going to look. We're going to build a realistic wage structure as well. We must create it when agreeing any new contracts, which we will be doing. And of course, we cannot exceed the current total squad wages. So we'll add them all together. We can't go over that. It has to stay that way. So if we add a new contract, we've got to lose money somewhere else, if you understand me. The source we use is Capology, and they give us our top 5. Hounds on 525,000 per week. Bernard Silva 300,000. Marmouche just under 300,000. Generally, John Roma 250,000, and John Stones on 250,000 as well. So they're the financial rules, and we're going to try and build that realistic wage structure over this series. Onto the squad rules just underneath it. So the squad size maximum can always be only 25 players, and not including under 21s. We must have 8 homegrown players. That's English, British players in the side. At least 4 homegrown players must be club trained. They must be from the academy. So 8 homegrown players minimum, and 4 must be from the academy. We could have 10 homegrown players if we wanted, but we must have at least 8. At least 5 academy players must be kept around the squad, so when it comes to the start of the next season, probably it'll play more of a part because we've already got our academy players there. We can loan the academy players out and look to development, but 5 of them must be in and around the squad as options throughout the season to play the sort of Carabao Cup games, EFL Cup games, FA Cup games against the weaker sides. And every season, at least one academy player must be integrated to the first team. This season, it will be Divine Mikasa. Last season, of course, it was Nico O'Reilly. The year before, Oscar Bob. The year before, Rico Lewis, and so on. Pep Guardiola follows that method, and we will follow it as well. Transfer rules. These are big ones when it comes to you suggesting in the comments transfer targets and players we should sign. So in January, we can't make any signing over 30 million euros. That is a deal breaker. No sign over 30 million euros in January. We must sign at least one young player, one young talent in January, someone who's up and coming. Last year is Echivere or Vita Heiss and so on. Maximo Piron, City done over the years. We'll continue to do that, at least one. We might look to bring in more. No permanent first team departures allowed in January, only on loan, so they can leave on loan. Stefan Ortega and Calvin Phillips won't count in that. Any player who plays less than 10 games in a season must be sold. So unless they're under 21 or a third choice goalkeeper like Bettinelli, if you don't play 10 games, we have to sell you because you of course wouldn't be happy. No signs over the age of 30 unless it's a free transfer. Pick your targets wisely. Any sign over 28 years of age must be 10 million euros or less. We cannot make a sign over 28 years of age. And City have never made a sign over 28, I don't think, for over that money. Then also, no signings with an overall rating higher than the average rate in the squad. That trying to keeps us a bit more down to earth. City aren't going to bring in Kylian Mbappe or, I don't know, Federico Valverde or, I don't know, Kvaratskhelia from Paris Saint-Germain, Dembele. We've got to keep that down. The current average overall rate in the squad is 84, so we can't make a signing over 84 rated. That'll go up by the end of the season. I think by the end of next season, that's probably 85, 86 with the development of the first team. And we've got a 1 in, 1 out policy. That's what City follow in real life under Hugo Viana and Pep Guardiola. 1 in and 1 out. If one leaves the club, then one can come in. But until one leaves, one can't come in the squad. And that will keep things as realistic as possible because realism is a key part of the way we do career mode on this channel. And then finally, the final thing is series rules. 1 match per episode will be judged with a performance via Fanalysis. Of course, I'm in the start 11 of Fanalysis, so we will finalise 1 performance per episode. The community vote after each episode. You can vote on your player of the episode as well. That is something we'll be keeping up with. And the end of the season awards after each season to be completed to reward performance, player of the season, young player of the season, sign of the season, and underrated player of the season as well. That is your full rundown and the full introduction to the Manchester City FC26 career mode, starting now on the We Are City channel. I know you guys have highly anticipated the series, and it is here. The next episode is coming soon. Episodes will be released every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 4:30 UK time. This series, season 1, will have about 14 episodes. Every season from that will have around 13. We're going to try and complete a month per episode, if that is possible, to keep things flowing at a nice, steady pace. If you are watching this on the main channel and you want to see episodes early and get the jump on everyone else, then you can join the We Are City Silver Club and get extended access, early access, and also extended access to extended videos like you can unedited gameplay with the Bronze Club. You get that as well. If you're watching this on the members channel, you're already way ahead of everyone else. Please like it if you haven't already. It makes a massive difference on the channel. Please do subscribe if you are new as you work our way towards 10,000 subscribers in the future. Massive aim. I'm so excited to get this series going. We'll see you guys next time.